Hi folks, this is Dr. Wayne Hayde, the Watchman on the 13th of August 2025. As many of you would know, Gary Griffith, in a voice note, attempted to insult me in several ways, including about my appearance, my qualifications and experience, and other things. And since that time, I have embarked on a process of asking him a series of questions. And in one voice note, I gave him 5 questions which he has not yet attempted to answer. And I want to continue that trend by giving him some more questions, but this time only 3 questions, in order to make it an easier lift for him. And I hope that he will attempt soon to answer these 8 questions and the others that will follow, of course. But I want to address something he said in his voice note when he harped that I, Wayne Hayde, has a tabanka about him, and he wanted me to know that he was not interested and that he was happily married. Well, Gary, for your information, the Watchman is on team hetero. But what is important about what you said is that in attempting to insult me or to cast aspersions on my name, you, without knowing it, exposed your own rear, in a manner of speaking. Because, let us look at your demented logic. If, as you say, because I criticize your performance and your actions and your statements during the period when you were Commissioner of Police, it means that somehow I have some sort of sexual interest in you, then that will logically apply to your own actions and words, where for several years you have been on the Prime Minister's backside, as Trinidadians would say, criticizing him and the Minister of National Security and the other commissioners and even Philip Edward Alexander. And this has been a consistent pattern of yours. So by your own demented logic, does it mean or does it infer that you have some sort of sexual interest in them? And also, by saying that you are happily married and you're not interested, are you implying or saying that had you not been married or happily married, then you would have accepted an invitation or an advance from another man? Well, if that's your business, Gary, that's not the Watchman. Wayne Hayde, as I said, is on team hetero. But by trying to insult people, you're pointing spotlights on yourself. And you have to look at that, especially when you're dealing with both an attorney at law and a Calypsonian, because you're giving me a topic to sing. But anyway, let's get to the serious business. And the 3 questions for today. Question number 1, Mr. Griffith, is it or is it not true that during the process of becoming Commissioner of Police, you did not pass a polygraph test? Is it or is it not true that you walked out of the first polygraph test because they asked you certain questions that you did not want to answer? And is it or is it not true that you returned 2 weeks later to do the polygraph, but the result of that test was inconclusive? So therefore, that is not a pass. because we don't know whether you lied or you told the truth. Clear the air on that with respect to the polygraph examination, Mr. Griffith. Question number 2. Is it or is it not a fact that you granted up to 7 firearms to a member of the Police Service Commission and or that person's spouse? And that included long-barreled weapons. Is it or is it not true that that happened? And also, as a corollary of that, how many rounds of ammunition were issued to those persons with those firearms? These are questions that should be answered. And is it or is it not a fact that that same member of the Police Service Commission was alleged to have leaked information to you from otherwise confidential matters out of the Police Service Commission that you then used in the media to try to impugn the process or other candidates? That's a very important question. Because if you have people walking around with long barrel weapons from the Police Service Commission, past, I should say, we need to know how did that influence their actions and their decisions at that particular time with respect to you. And thirdly, Mr. Griffith, what about the case involving Mr. Totaram Duki, who retired as an assistant commissioner of police and who has filed an action in the High Court accusing you during your time as commissioner of discrimination, abuse of authority, abuse of power, and other things by the way you treated him and other police officers at that time, who they say were the ones involved in investigating certain matters involving members of the PNM at the time. You see, now when we're talking about who was leading PNM, it wasn't Wayne Hayde. From the allegations made by Mr. Totaram Duki, is he not saying that it was coming from your office at your direction, including putting him up in Kumoto with a desk with no work to do and forcing him to go on leave? We need to hear you on that. And is it not a fact, or is it not true that you have not yet provided an affidavit on oath about that matter so that the state could defend the case that Mr. Duki has brought against the Commissioner of Police and the Attorney General? Why not? Because included in that is the information with respect to Mr. Skeet, who you said was an informant of yours and who made certain allegations against you. And that affidavit will have to include questions like, were you in the police station on that day when the gentleman said that certain things happened with respect to you? Or were you in that cell, as is being alleged? You have to answer that on oath so that we can get a wider picture of what really transpired. And as you said in the press, the gentleman was murdered. But you have an affidavit from him quashing the allegations that were made before. So, is this a case of dead men tell no tales? So somebody made sure that the gentleman was not there to answer questions from you or from Mr. Dookie or from anyone else with respect to what happened in that station and with respect to what happened that led, as you say, to an affidavit impugning what was said before. These are serious issues because we have not come to other questions involving other people as yet. But that is to come. So, this is not about insulting you. Unlike you, I try to keep it clean. But as I said, I can't promise that the Watchman will do the same. But these are questions that I'm asking you, Mr. Griffith, to answer. There are more questions than answers. Pictures in my mind that will not show. There are more questions than answers. And the more I find out, the less we know. Over to you, Mr. Griffith. You want this battle? Come get it, soldier.